Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we are going to start work on our AddEdit product view controller. And so this is what we're going to be building. We're going to just be working on the UI in this lesson. We have the product name, product price, and you'll see that the keyboard is different. This is a decimal keypad. We have a text field here for the description, and then we have the image that we can tap to add a new image. And then we have our button down here, and if we click, we get an error if we haven't filled out everything. All right, so that is what we're going to be working on. Let's open up our storyboard and get to it. All right, so we're down here, and we're going to need a couple of text fields. So I'm going to hold Option and drag this in so that our object library stays open. So we're going to have two text fields, and then we're going to have a label. Drag that in right here. Then we are going to have a text view, just like that. Then we're going to have another label. Drop that in. A image view. Drop that in. An activity indicator. Drop that in. And then finally, our button to add or save our product. All right, very good. Now let's go ahead and start styling and adding constraints to all this. Let's start at the top. I'm going to grab our first text field, change its placeholder text to product name. All right, so this is going to be our text field for the product name. Then we can go ahead and constrain this. I'm going to say 20 from the left, 20 from the right, and 20 from the top. Add those three constraints. And now if you wanted, you could also do this with a stack view. I'm just going to go ahead and do this with plain old constraints. And we'll say 20 from the left, 20 from, let's go 12 from the top, and then 20 from the right. And this is going to be our product price field. So I'm going to change its placeholder text to product price. Then we have a label here to provide some instructions. And those instructions are going to be enter description below. And we'll go ahead and center that horizontally in container and constrain it 20 from the top. And let's go ahead and to make this consistent, we'll change the font style to custom and the family to Futura. We'll say done and change the color to our dark blue we've been using. And now that we changed our font style, it's not quite fitting. So here's a trick. If you do Command equal, it will fit to scale. All right, next up we have our text view here. And I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the dummy text. And we are going to change the, just going to press enter. Then let's change the background color like we saw in our finished one so that we can kind of see just where it is. Let's go with group table view background color. Okay, that's a nice light gray. And let's give it some constraints. I'm going to say 20 from the left, 12 from the top, 20 from the right, and let's give it a height of 128 is fine, and say add those four constraints. Very good. Next, we have our next label. This is our next instructions that say tap to add image. And we'll go ahead and move this up, constrain it 20 from the top, 20 from the left, and 20 from the right. Add those three constraints. Center its alignment here. And change its color to our dark blue. Change the font from system font to custom. Change the family to Futura. Very good. And then for our image here, let's go ahead and constrain it 12 from the top, and we're going to give it width and height constraints of 200 by 200. And then we'll say add those three constraints, and then we need to align it horizontally in the container. There we go. Now we have our activity indicator here. Let's change its style to large, white, change the color to our dark blue, align it horizontally in container, and then set it 20 from the bottom of our image view, and set its behavior to hides when stopped. Very good. Now we have our button down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and say add product. Change its, let's do the constraints first. We'll say 20 from the top, 20 from the right. Add those two constraints. I didn't do the bottom one because I think I have it too low right now, and I don't want to mess with the bottom safe view, so I'm going to move it up and then say 20 from the bottom. Add one constraint. Also, I want to give it a height constraint of 40. I just think the taller buttons look a little bit nicer. I'm going to change the text color to white and the background color to our dark blue. And we can change the font to Futura as well, custom and family Futura, just to make it consistent. All right, that looks good. Last thing we can do is with our UI image view, to make it match the one up here, we can set its image to camera, change the content mode to center. And remember, that's why we encode when we add the image, we change the content mode back to aspect fill to account for having changed it to center here in Storyboard. Then we're going to give the background a light gray color. There we go. We can also change its class to a rounded image view. We can change the button down here, class to rounded button. And I think that is pretty much everything we need for our UI. Oh yeah, our product price text field. You can change the type of keyboard that comes up by coming over here to the keyboard type, and you can change it to a number of different things. We want a decimal pad, and that will only provide numbers and a decimal point. All right, I think that looks good. Let's run this and see how everything looks. All right, let's go to landscape photography, add product. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Our image looks good. All right, I think that is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and hook up all of our IB outlets and actions. So I'm going to hold Option and click on our Add Edit Products view controller. I'm going to go ahead and move this up right there. And then, okay, so now I'm going to hold Option and click on the storyboard. There we go. Close our left and right hand panels to give us more space. Just going to move that over. All right, so down here with our Add Edit Products VC, click on Product Name, Control and drag over here. This is going to be Product Name Text Connect, and give some space here. Put our headers, outlets, and variables. All right, the next one is the product price. So Control and drag, product price, text. Then we have our description text. So I'm going to say Control and drag, and this is product descript. I'm just going to do desk for short and txt and connect. And then we need a outlet for our image view here. So this is going to be our product image view. Say connect. Get one for our activity indicator here. Activity indicator. And one for our add button. Add button and connect. That's so we can change the title from add product to save product if we are editing. And lastly, let's create an IB action for our add product button. So we'll say add clicked and connect. All right, very good. Just gonna clean this up a little bit. And that's looking good. All right, I'm gonna close our assistant editor, reopen our left and right hand panels, and we are done with the UI. So the next step is to actually implement pretty much everything that we did in the AddEdit category view controller, all right? So here comes a new challenge, all right? I want you to try and implement everything that we did in the AddEdit category view controller for our AddEdit products view controller, okay? The principles are exactly the same. For our add category, the only difference is that we have fewer text fields. We only had a name and an image, whereas with the products, we have 2 text fields and another text view. All right, so other than that, it's all the same. We're going to be creating and initializing a product. We're going to be uploading an image. We're going to be selecting an image from the image picker first, uploading that image, retrieving the URL, everything that we did here in the AddEdit category VC, okay? So I want you to try and replicate what we did here in the AddEdit products view controller. So let's run through this real quick, just to give you a refresher what we did here. I'll break it down pretty simply. First, let's handle the image picker. For that, we need to add a UI tap gesture recognizer and assign that to the image. And then down here, we have our UI image picker delegates to launch it and to handle when we pick it. All right, so that takes care of that. You need a selector function. And then we need to upload the image. And so we have our 6 steps here. If you just follow these 6 steps, you should be just fine. And then we upload that document. And one thing that you're going to have to do here also is to create an initializer like we did for the category. This one right here. So you'll have to create an initializer like this for the product model. But other than that, it's pretty much just copying what we did in the AddEdit category VC, all right? So give that a shot. This will be another good test to see how you're doing. And if you have any problems, don't sweat it. Just go ahead and shoot me a question in the Q&A or hit me up in the Slack channel, all right? I will see you in the next one, where if you had any problems, we'll go through it together. See you there.